Alright, check it. We got a lot of games coming out in the next couple months of 2024. We still got Phantom Blade Zero. We got Sparking Zero. We got motherfucking the game of the year, more than likely, Black Myth Wukong. And then the one game that's coming out really soon that I'm personally excited. My headphones, oh god. The one game that's coming out that I'm really excited for is the new Warhammer game that's dropping. Warhammer 40k. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. So I first seen it, I was like, this looks like Gears of War. I fucking love Gears of War, which I'm probably going to be doing on the channel eventually because I gotta get a refresher on Gears of War because we just got a new Gears of War announcement. Like, come on. But I wanted to look at the entire Warhammer 40k timeline explained by an Australian because personally, while 40k looks cool, Warhammer series looks cool, the only thing I know about it is motherfuckers spend a lot of money on figurines and they paint them. I don't know if they do like a D&D type thing, rolling dice and shit, but I wanted to check it out. So for all you diehard Warhammer 40k people, just be patient with me if I don't understand anything. But and do enlighten me on some things that I might miss or interesting shit about the Warhammer K story. But without too much talking, let's go ahead and get into it.
G'day guys and gal. You'd think I would have made one of these videos by now, especially since I'm one of the only guys that understands that ADHD friendly video lengths are a big vibe.
He has a lot of
and the
stuff.
fact that
See, like
who seems
that
to
gun
make
up there reminds me of like
video
not the Lancer, but one of the guns from Gears. It's just like a smaller version of it.
Haven't, I suppose.
See, look at all that on the figures.
Today is the day we explain over 300 novels and over 30 years of lore in one pretty short video. I'm obviously going to be pretty brutal with what content I actually provide, since this video could literally go for 24 hours and still be considered brief, but if there's anything I do well, it's milk my country of origin for views and compress the shit out of stuff. We will be covering from 60 million BC all the way to the 42nd
God,
highlighting the key events, key characters,
60 million BC? These niggas been fighting for forever. These niggas been fighting forever. What?
Not to make even the most non-Warhammer person, such as, anyone above a 7.5, know what is actually going on. The point of this video is for you to be able to learn about 40k lore or send it to a mate and be like, oi dickhead, and get them on board our degeneracy train that is plummeting straight towards hell. And yeah, on the off chance this does end up blowing up and getting 1 million views, I have a store with custom 3D party minis that slap pretty hard, a page filled with live action nude Warhammer cosplays, and some merch I think is pretty cute. What?
Like all this stuff. Like all this Warhammer stuff, it's an insanely popular series, and I've only heard like tiny bits of it. Seen like a little animations on TikTok of like really sad stories, and in the gameplay, it looks like Gears of War, and it got me hyped. But I don't know.
It's got to make a living. Let's get into it.
All right, let's get it.
The thing about Warhammer 40k is that it's considered an alternate future of our current reality, with a few alterations, sure. But as far as Warhammer is concerned, you currently watching this video is canon to the 40k universe. Our tale begins 60 million years ago, where life first started giving it a genuine crack after the bang went big. Many races evolved, and for whatever reason, most of these races were OP as hell, like the Crave. However, chief amongst these were the old ones, toad-looking motherfuckers who traveled the galaxy and seeded life onto countless worlds.
Cool.
They were all powerful, as they were able to tap into the power of an alternate dimension called the Warp, a dimension of pure energy and emotion, unbound by the laws of physics and with limitless potential. The Warp at this time was calm, friendly, and bountiful. Most entities that died would have their souls travel here to either be reincarnated or just kind of chill and float around like a spectral jellyfish, not a care in the world.
Okay,
however,
so it's like an afterlife?
The Necrontyr, and boy, they had it rough. Their world was getting spanked by solar radiation on the daily, and I guess they forgot to evolve to deal with it, as their lives were basically one big skin cancer. They died young, and their entire culture was pretty depressing. Despite this, they were quite successful as a species, creating dark matter spaceships and carving out their own galactic empire. However, despite escaping their cancer-ridden homeworld, their lives remained pitifully short, as they only evolved to live for a short time. They eventually encountered the Old Ones and were like, fuck yes, please teach us how to make sunscreen and become immortal and shit. But the Old Ones refused. The Necrontyr were not their creation, and if they didn't create something, they didn't really give a shit about it. The Necrontyr tried to wage war against the Old Ones, but that would be like a dry spittle of cum trying to take down the cocaine bear.
What? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What the fuck you mean? Huh? Come again?
The Necrontyr got clapped and driven into the corner of the galaxy. While they had a sook, they discovered a large entity draining a nearby sun. The entity was not sentient, yet it was clearly powerful as hell. It was a Catan, a god of the material universe which was created by the Big Bang. However, in its current form, it was god of the material universe which was created by the Big Bang. However, in its current form, it was basically just a big galactic jellyfish that ate stars. The Necrontyr were like, fuck it, and they built large mecha bodies for the Catan to inhabit, thus giving them sentience. Well, it turns out the Catan were fucking assholes, hence the Catan tricked the Necrontyr into sacrificing their body and souls in machines that the Catan then fed on. The Necrontyr were promised immortality and a release from their depressing lives, which was partially true. However, now the entire Necrontyr race were soulless robotic slaves to the will of the Catan. They were now the Necrons. As the Old Ones rivaled the Catan's power and would eventually control the entire galaxy, the Catan led their Necron armies against the Old Ones. The Old Ones—
that is something that I'm learning or starting to like. I've seen like I was like looking through. There was like a whole playlist of Warhammer 40k videos, and it was just like 170 something videos long. An hour, hour and a half, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40, 50, hour and a half, 20, 40. I was like, damn, how much lore can you have? I just recently got into Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts was confusing as fuck when I first got into it, but I understood it, and this is probably the same thing, but how much lore can you have? I'm talking about 170 plus videos, a lot of them being like 30 minutes plus. I'm sorry, but I'm learning about all these factions. I'm learning that there's a lot of factions in this universe, which is cool. I think that's cool. Like, shit, let's make more Warhammer games. Like, I've seen a bunch of Warhammer games that I probably might check out. If you have any recommendations for any, do let me know. Because I've seen like a lot of like, there's like turn-based ones, there's some other ones, top-down shooters and stuff like that. I play anything. So as long as it's fun, let me know.
had not prepared for hectic galactic war, hence their army struggled against the Catan. However, through a bit of hectic shit, such as the creation of the mighty Krork warriors, the Eldar, an Old One creation, figuring out how to summon their gods onto the battlefield, and the Old Ones
calling exiles,
will and using it as a weapon, the Old Ones were able to fight back. A shitload of people died, many worlds were ruined, and pretty much all of the Old Ones were eventually killed.
This is a fucking edgy ass
was shattered and weakened to a point where the Necrons were able to rise up against the Catan overlords, shooting them with a bunch of Death Stars and shit and turning them into Pokemon/super efficient batteries. See, they wanted to destroy the Catan, but as the Catan were gods of reality, destroying them would destroy reality.
Okay,
the Necrons themselves were pretty wrecked
impossible,
though.
But just not a
Back-to-back
good idea.
galaxy-shattering wars does that. Hence their leader, the Silent King, ordered them all to hibernate for 60 million years, with the idea being that the galaxy would be primed for them to reconquer. See, the Eldar were rising to become the dominant force, and the Silent King wasn't sure if the Necrons could beat them, so better to let the Eldar Empire fizzle out than risk it all. The final act of the Silent King was to break his command module, giving the Necrons free will upon their awakening. To punish himself for leading his race into damnation, the Silent King refused to join them in slumber, choosing to travel the universe for 60 million years instead. The warp had been seriously damaged during the War in Heaven, as the conflict was called. All the death, suffering, and tampering from the Old Ones had turned it from a calm sea of souls into a dangerous maelstrom. It wasn't totally fucked, however the seeds of corruption were sown, with the realms of chaos forming in the dark corners of the warp. The realms were weak and small, they could not challenge the dominion of the Eldar gods, however they could steadily grow in influence, waiting for their time to strike. For those 60 million years, the Eldar reigned supreme. They had a fuckload of awesome technology given to them by the now extinct Old Ones. The Necrons and the Catan were gone, and the Krorks were kept in check by culling campaigns. These culling campaigns reduced the Krorks from legendary 12-meter tall killing machines to a bunch of lovable and semi-retarded orcs. The species was literally genocided into de-evolution.
Alright.
During this time, Kane, the Eldar got all pissy and shit and started attacking the Eldar because, you know, he's a highly emotional god of war and he saw a prophecy that said the Eldar would destroy him, so yeah, he cracked it. To prevent the death of the Eldar, the other Eldar gods permanently sealed the barrier between their realm in the warp and real space, meaning the Eldar could no longer summon the Eldar gods to their aid. This was actually the beginning of the end of the Eldar Empire. See, after 60 million years, is, the Eldar got bored. They were masters of the galaxy, lived for thousands of years, and when they died, they were able to just reincarnate with their memories intact. With their gods now at arm's length, the Eldar began to fall into depravity to keep themselves entertained. It started small, pleasure cults on Eldar worlds partaking in narcotics and orgies, which sounds like a fucking vibe. However, it got worse and worse whilst becoming more widespread, with the Eldar moving into violent blood orgies, sacrifice, and other less vibey stuff.
How many times you gonna say? Like, what are we talking? Blood orgies? Necrot? Like, niggas was smoking and just fucking all day. Like, what? What? This is fire.
The issue was that because the Eldar were a psychic race, their emotions echoed loudly in the war.
Okay, Zero.
So many Eldar railing Coke, then railing each other.
Not
these
really. What the fuck is that hat? What is that hat?
Warp God, the Chaos God Slaanesh. Before shit really hit the fan with Slaanesh though, humanity had begun its rise. We had slowly but surely advanced through the years, much in the same way as real life. There was the ancient Egyptian and Greek cultures, the Mona Lisa, and then in the 21st century, I'm sure there was like Fortnite and a dumb piece of shit YouTuber called Major Kill. But then things kept going. We mastered space travel, figured out how to travel faster than light by inventing the warp drive, a device that could open a portal to the warp, fly through it, and pop out somewhere else in the galaxy at a micro fraction of the time it would take to do it normally. With this technology, humanity colonized thousands of worlds. We were wildly advanced, with machines and fabricators that could make us anything, as well as highly intelligent AIs to help us. Yes, the Eldar Empire was very mighty and controlled a lot of the galaxy, but not as much as you would think.
I don't know about the hat, but that's
very
still tough.
quickly, and they were content to control their own territory without much ambition for expansion. So whilst I'm sure the humans and Eldar did fight here and there, it wasn't either race's goal or hobby. But just as the Eldar and the human empires were both at their zenith, shit hit the fan. Humanity's robotic servants rose up and started attacking their creators.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Roombas were crashing into people's ankles, sex robots started blueballing people, you know.
What is this nigga's like commentary? I fuck with it so heavy, but like, what is this nigga's commentary? I love it though. It's, man, like I said, if there was ever a Detroit Become Human moment, like where we could live alongside highly intelligent AI and they had their own, like, they could basically almost feel and they had their own emotion in a sense. I'm telling you, I'm not hitting them, I'm not spitting on them, I'm not being racist, I'm not segregating them. I'm gonna have me a right hand man. We're gonna be like R2D2 in that bit, but I'm just saying that he's gonna be my C3PO. We're gonna be like close. So if they do take over, he's gonna be like, hey, he one of the good ones. No, I said that's kind of racist, but like he one of the good ones. You know, me and him, we boys. Let's not do this all humans a bad thing. He one of the good ones. he one of the special ones. You know what I'm saying? Like keep him good.
Twisted shit. However, through great effort, as well as the help of a few alien races humanity was mates with, the robots, the Men of Iron as they were called, were destroyed. However, shit then got even worse. See, the Eldar's empire-spanning blood orgies had destabilized the warp, making interstellar travel super hard, hence cutting mankind's empire off from itself. Then to make matters even worse, the psychomutation emerged, with a number of humans on every world developing psychic powers.
That's cool.
These powers seemed cool at first, with many human worlds celebrating these psychic superheroes. But then it got bad, as demons from the realms of chaos within the warp used these psychers, who drew their power from the warp as living portals to invade real space, destroying thousands of human worlds in a demonic blood rush. Many other
nothing good.
Simply died from lack of trade, especially ones like mining worlds that relied on off-world imports of food. This period of darkness was the age of strife and lasted 5,000 years.
Damn, niggas just y'all just be going through it.
Alien races.
Like literally, it's just like, oh yeah, this entire period of famine and blood orgies and blue balling sex robots and slavery and mass genocide and aliens coming from a dimension where the afterlife is basically the thing, but it's not the afterlife because it's technically an alternate reality that is real and something that you can actually touch, and it's, you know, thing that you can actually go to for some reason. It's like, oh yeah, that lasted 20 million years. What do you mean?
years of lost technology. It's because of these 5,000 years that humanity went from a let's be friends with aliens to the hyper-racist fucking genocide the tits off anything that isn't human.
Yeah, that's how it would be right now. Let's be fair. Alien came down. First thing we do
terra,
was
as it's called in Warhammer, devolved into nuclear
first thing we
civil
do.
war, rendering much of the world inhabitable. During mankind's rise and fall, a special human had been born thousands of years before the birth of Christ. The culmination of 1,000 psychic shamans performing ritualistic suicide all at once to combine their soul into a super being. The Emperor of Man was born. Now, he wasn't born with the title of the Emperor, that would be a bit hectic, but he was already wise as fuck as a child, and he traveled the world. He acted as a shepherd to humanity, but not always as a ruler. Sometimes he would step in and lead a nation, but once he was satisfied they weren't going to fuck themselves, he would go back to the shadows. See, his unique birth made him a perpetual, an immortal being with immense physical and psychic power. He had shepherded mankind into a golden age of technological enlightenment that lasted thousands of years before the age of strife, and the Emperor was content, happy to stay on the sidelines, expanding his knowledge.
That nigga got a golden owl? That nigga got a two-headed hawk. I don't know.
He didn't step in. So
what?
He said, fuck this
that
shit,
is cool,
and
though.
decided that he would become the master of mankind and lord of the galaxy.
That armor is tough.
He detected that the Elder Empire was approaching its climax of depravity, which would birth Slanesh. The psychic shockwave of that birth would blow away the warp storms that prevented interstellar travel, allowing humanity to be once again united. At this point, it was around the 31st millennium. To prepare for this, the Emperor used his dozens of thousands of years of knowledge to create his Custodes and Thunder Warriors, two superhuman breeds of soldiers. The Custodes were handcrafted.
Nigga, hold on. Is that a spear with like a fucking shotgun on the end of it? Cause he's holding this. I'm assuming this is like the spear part for like, you know, thrusting and poking. And then like this is the spear part or a bayonet. And then these large ass rounds, bro. What the fuck? And the bird is tough.
And Thunder Warriors, two superhuman breeds
cool.
of soldiers. The Custodes were handcrafted
heavy armor, big weapons. That's
army
dead.
and
That's just my thing.
The Thunder Warriors were crude, short-lived brutes, but were very powerful in their own right.
Jade sword. I've seen a little bit of that.
That conquered Earth. However, he knew that the Thunder Warriors would not be able to conquer the galaxy for him. They died young and were kind of retarded. Hence, he got his Custodes to cull the Thunder Warriors in order to replace them with the much more marketable and long-lived Space Marines. See, the Emperor foresaw many calamities to come.
Are these the Space Marines? Like, he just said Space Marines.
Look at
alright, like all like I don't like these different factions and races and different like all this shit is cool. This is giving me like D&D but like in space vibes. Like that's tough.
The War in Heaven, the Rise of the Beast, which was a Giga Orc capable of conquering the galaxy, and other nasty shit such as the Necron's Awakening and the arrival of the Tyranids. So
that's some World of Warcraft stuff art.
In secret,
Yeah,
using his
that
own genius,
the Necro or whatever it was.
Gods and his own DNA. They were his sons, his Primarchs, and from their DNA, he created the Space Marines as the sons of the Primarchs. However, due to some warp spaghetti and the intervention of the Chaos Gods, the four Lords of Hell, the Primarchs were stolen from the Emperor's laboratories and scattered throughout the galaxy. The Emperor was like, fuck! And he launched
some D&D ass
with the aid of Mars, Terra's neighbor, who had widely advanced technological and manufacturing capabilities, two things required when you need to conquer a galaxy. How did the Emperor get Mars to be his personal factory, I hear you ask? Well, during the medieval ages, he beat up a
big ass hand,
put it in a coma and locked it under Mars. Its essence and influence then advanced the Martian people's technological intellect. The Emperor then exploited their religious beliefs into tricking them that he was their god and messiah, because of course he did. The Great Crusade was epic. Hundreds of thousands of Space Marines and countless billions of army and navy personnel conquering, colonizing, liberating, or integrating various worlds, rapidly expanding the Imperium of Man. As each world was brought into the fold, either through force or diplomacy, the Imperium swelled. One by one, the Primarchs were found and given command of their own legions, the same legions that were created using their own DNA.
Hold on, go back a little bit, just a little bit. I just want its full.
Legions that were created using their own DNA.
Like these four niggas, like this nigga look cool, this nigga look cool, he's look cool, this paladin ass character, like all like. Okay, they look the same, so I'm guessing this is like different ranks of soldier, like different ranks of basic soldiers. He looks like a grunt, but like that's a grunt. But like that's another thing I'm excited too about the Warhammer game. the customization they showed, it looked kind of tough. I'm telling you, I'm going in there with shotguns, melee weapons, big pumas. Like I saw the hordes, thousands of bugs on the screen. It looks like Helldivers. If Helldivers was actually going to be a good game, but they keep nerfing shit, so everything is fucking bad. Now everyone's boycotting the game and fucking hitting the game with the review bombs again. But like, man, bruh, it looks cool. It looks cool.
Hey, Sanguinius, the angel, was given his blood
It
angels.
looks
Rogel,
cool.
the
Like,
asshole, was
that
given
looks
his
so,
imperial fist.
he has like chapels and what are the words? That's not the word I'm looking for. I was thinking about like towers, but that's not the word I'm looking for. On his shoulder guards, and just this is like what if America made power armor. Like this is like the most patriotic ass shit. But it's this. I'm a huge fan for heavy armor and big weapons. You see me in MMO, I'm playing the heavy class with a great sword, a hammer, something big and tough that I can just like, like hit somebody one good time and all their health just chunks up. This
Horus, the first Primarch to be found and the Emperor's favoured son, was given his lunar wolves. As the Primarchs were found, the pace of the crusade.
His hair is crazy. That dude in the top left, his hair is crazy. That
demigod superhuman
it looks so cool. I cannot wait for this game to drop, man.
Why didn't they
look at that sword? This is just me, bro. This whole universe was made for me. I'm accepting that at this point. This whole universe was made for me. Who's she? This whole universe was made for me.
Most Eldar were too insane and depraved by that point to understand the danger of their indulgent actions. The only
and she's fun, and she looks tough.
In the webway, an artificial network of psychic tunnels that cut through
fucking
the warp.
Anjoxus from Paladins.
The Exodite Eldar who foresaw the calamity and left beforehand, and then the craft worlds, living continent-sized ships that were able to avoid
that looks
the
really,
decline
that
of
looks
their
like
race
some
due to their nomadic
Swarm
nature,
from
hence they were
Halo
able to fly away from
type
the
shit.
center of Slaanesh's birth. But yeah, the Eldar were in no position to challenge humanity's rise. Despite mankind and the Emperor's dominion, the Biggie knew humanity would never be safe until Chaos was beaten. See, not many people knew about Chaos, and the Emperor didn't want people to know, as knowing about it gave it strength. Hence, the Emperor had created a secular godless imperium, the idea being to drain the Chaos gods of strength as everyone became atheists and didn't believe in anything. The power of belief is a big theme in Warhammer. But to beat Chaos, the Emperor had to remove humanity's reliance on the warp. Most notably, he had to remove warp travel. See, mankind was slowly evolving to become a psychic race, like the Eldar, and the Emperor didn't want the birth of Slaanesh II, Electric Boogaloo, so he began creating his secret webway project, the goal being to break into the Eldar webway and then convert sections of it for human use. Then humanity could have massive
like some
cities
cameo
full of
armor
psychics that were kept away from the warp and chaos, as well as use the human webway for risk-free travel. If it wasn't obvious, warp travel, i.e. cutting through hell to travel, possesses a lot of risks to someone's lifespan. Chaos did not want humanity to free itself of its influence. If the webway project was completed, then Chaos would suffer greatly as its main food source would be denied to it. Hence it reared its ugly head and decided it was time to act. The time for waiting was over. Chaos exploited the weakness, insecurities, and ego of the Primarchs Horus and Lorgar in order to turn them to their cause, filling their heads with half-truths and twisted visions of the future. From here, Horus was able to convince half of his Primarch brothers to join him in rebellion against the Emperor. Thus the Horus heresy begun. It started horribly for the Emperor's forces. 3 of his Space Marine legions and their Primarchs were lured into a trap and massacred, whilst the rest of his forces were scattered. See, Horus had been named War Master before his betrayal, so he was able to command the Imperium's armies whilst the Emperor worked on the Webway project. As such, Horus was able to direct most weapons and ammo to his traitor legions, whilst he then sent the more powerful Loyalist legions to the far edges of the galaxy, keeping them out of the way. The heresy was a time of titanic battles, heroic last stands and acts of defiance, brother against brother, father against son. It culminated with Horus and his army sieging Terra itself. The siege ended with Horus killing Sanguinius and then the Emperor killing Horus in turn, but not before suffering mortal wounds. With Horus's death, the traitor forces were broken and driven back, eventually regrouping in the Eye of Terra, which was the epicenter of Slaanesh's birth. a hellish realm that the loyalists were unable to penetrate. The Emperor was placed on the Golden Throne, an extremely advanced device that both kept him alive and killed him in equal measure. His soul lived on, but his body withered. See, the heresy had done obscene damage to the Imperium. The Webway project had been destroyed, multiple Primarchs had been killed, with most of the traitor Primarchs ascending to become Demon Lords. The Golden Throne allowed the Emperor to guide the Astronomicon, a beacon of light that allowed the Imperium to navigate the warp, whilst also keeping the Webway Gate under Terra shut.
So I guess if you just take him off of that, even though it'd probably be hard as hell to get to him, I'm pretty sure if you just take him off of that, he would fully die. It kills his body, but his soul is still there commanding his arm.
It was destroyed,
so
it had
cool.
become flooded with demons. Hence, the Emperor has sat on the throne for over 10,000 years, literally holding his Imperium together as his body withers and he endures unimaginable agony.
That's
the Imperium
crazy.
survived the Horus Heresy, but without the Emperor's guidance, it began a slow and steady decline over the next 10 millennium. The Emperor's secular atheist policies were abandoned in favor of the Imperial cult, a mandatory religion that declared the Emperor as a god. Alien races that had been pushed to the brink of extinction, like the Orcs, returned in great number and began threatening the Imperium. Eldar raiders also joined in on the fun, whilst the newly established Chaos faction was an ever-present threat. Other new threats emerged, like the rapidly advancing Tau Empire or the arrival of the Tyranids, a parasitic hive mind species from another galaxy.
And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, for the people who are still watching, the Tyranids are who we're fighting in the new Warhammer game. I think that's correct. I think that's who we're fighting. They look very familiar. The Warhammer game, look like we're fighting a bunch of big bug demon monsters. That might be, I think, who we're fighting. I should react to some of the Warhammer games because I haven't watched much of the Warhammer game, the new one. I kind of just like going in being surprised. I've seen like a little gameplay trailer when it first got like revealed, you know, showing that, you know, they had like the reaction commands and they had like the big God of War press circle prompts and a pretty good melee combat with a mix of really good gunplay, and then like they had the technology to make like thousands upon thousands of mobs on your screen at the same time and it not affect your performance. I've seen that's basically the extent of what I've seen. I haven't seen like deep gameplay. I haven't really looked into it that much, but I think this is who the main ops are in the new game.
That, the Necrons began
awakening
as it had been 60 million years, with the Silent King himself returning to the galaxy after traveling the cosmos. To make matters even more worse, Chaos had finally marshaled enough strength to deal a crippling blow to the Imperium at the end of the 41st millennium, destroying their fortress world of Cadia, which allowed the Eye of Terror to expand and cut the galaxy in half, with one half of the Imperium now no longer being able to warp travel, as well as there being no more Astronomicon on that side. Demons invaded 1,000 worlds as the death scream of the Imperium began to sound. All was lost. Until it fucking wasn't. Through a serious effort of both the Imperium and the Eldar, Rabute Guilliman, the Avenging Sun, the Lord of Ultramar, and one of the greatest Primarchs to ever live, was revived from his near-death stasis. With his resurrection came the unveiling of the Primaris Marines and the start of the Indomitus Crusade, mankind's revenge against all its foes.
Okay, I think this is us in the new game, not the Space Marines from before, but I think this is us. I think
he defeated his demon brothers Magnus and Mortarion in the process, thus bringing us into the modern-day setting. Guilliman is trying to unfuck the galaxy. Chaos, led by Abaddon the Despoiler, is trying to fuck the galaxy. The Silent King is attempting to cut off the warp from the galaxy, which would fuck everyone who wasn't a Necron. The Tyranids are trying to eat everyone's ass. The Eldar are trying to awaken their god of death to take on Slanesh. The Orcs are just having a great time with all the war and shit going on. The Tau are just trying to exist in a galaxy that fucking hates them. In the grim darkness of the 42nd millennium, there is only war. And that is more or less a rundown of the entire lore of Warhammer 40k. Obviously, there is a shitload of important side quests and side lore that I haven't included because, you know,
this
like
all looks
24-hour video if I did, but this should bring even the most functional non-virgin members of society up to speed. If you enjoyed the video and you want to support the channel, then pick up a Major Mini. Wide range of high-quality, professionally printed minis that ship
cool. Okay, yeah, see what I mean? Yeah, like they paint figures and stuff. That looks about like an unpainted figure.
Join the Discord for more memes and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Wow, what the fuck? All that looks cool, man. All that looks cool. Now, I don't know, like let me see if I can't find it real quick. I have it on my wish list. Let me don't wonder what I'll just cut it out. Yeah, okay. So Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2. Okay. 3 weeks. Jeez, 3 weeks? On the 9th? That's not that far away, man. That's not that far away. But yeah, all this looks cool. I didn't really watch the multiplayer gameplay because this was another thing I was thinking about at first. Like, if we're Space Marines, why are we fighting other Space Marines? And I kind of see the implication of what they're trying to do, of how they're trying to go about it. But yeah, like see that shit is tough. That's tough. That shit is tough, man. I'm so here for this game when it drops. I hope I don't know if I'm gonna do co-op because I'm sure ain't nobody else on my friends probably gonna play. I would love to play co-op story mode with some people. Hopefully, maybe I see if I can't get somebody. Maybe collab with some other people. But it all looks good. It all looks very good, and I'm stupid excited to actually play this whenever it comes out. I just hope it's good. 20, you know how it is in recent gaming in the modern day. You buy a game, you pre-order it, it comes out, it's dog shit, it doesn't work. Everyone's upset because why the fuck are you saying the game is out and it's broken? Now we gotta wait a year for the game to be functional, and then the game's functional in like a year, and then no one wants to play it anymore because you fucked over your entire player base. But I digress. Looking at Dragon's Dogma 2, only reason why I have 29 hours in it. But I digress. How the fuck is whatever. But yeah, if y'all have any recommendations for more Warhammer videos that I can look at, or more, or even like games in the Warhammer universe, I don't know much about like the Warhammer franchise. Okay, like see, like this looks cool. Ooh, I'm trying to see. I'm not trying to look at you play the game that I can't play. Like this looks cool. Ooh, it looks like Doom. This was the first. Did you say combat racing? Oh my god, y'all have a wait, it's free? Wait, y'all have a racing game? This just came out? Hold on. Is this like that one old damn, it's just like that one old game on the PS2. It was like your like the main combat was like cars. Okay, but I digress. Yeah. Y'all got any suggestions for Warhammer stuff? Let me know, and I'll definitely want to check it out and react to it because this is all very cool to me. I'm all for the death and the gore and the big heavy armor and the big weapons and the factions and the wars and the 20 million blood orgy years bullshit. But yeah, please let me know if you have any other reaction requests or like suggestions, game wise, video wise. I'm so ready for this game to come out. 3 more weeks, man.